So now I'm going to jump on to sensitive applications. So sensitive applications, before starting this part, I will share with you a little poll that you can answer. Here you go. So question is, around the applications that we've listed, which ones are the most relevant to you? You have capital projects, large projects, you have transport, also around railway, highways, tunnel, bridges. You have earthworks, landslides, rockfall, utilities, buildings, maybe more so something around cities, excavation, towers, historical applications. And finally, maybe more specialist environment. The goal here is to roughly understand what's your interest, maybe what you're already doing, so I can maybe develop more a certain part for you guys. Okay, so I have 50% of people that have voted. Let's wait a little more and see what are the other answers. $75, maybe another one. Just wait a couple more seconds. Okay, so I think we're good. I'm going to close the poll and I'm going to share it with you. So most of you guys are interested in transport. Some of you are looking at specialist environment, maybe marine, mining. That I'm not 100% sure because I haven't asked you the question directly. But basically, it is good in a sense because transport is definitely one of our biggest markets, especially railways at the moment. I'll hide this poll and show you the application that we work with on this London picture. Quite like the Battersea Power Station because it's quite a large project, iconic project, but it also gives a good perspective over London and the type of projects that we've dealt with around the city. So if we focus on track, as most of people did, here you go, track. We do work a lot on track, as I said, to monitor track geometry, track deformations, and a lot of things around the railway, OLE structures as well. Here on the map is an example of the work that we've done close to Battersea Power Station. People have mentioned specialist environment. Here I will take marine environment. So if you follow the spotlight, marine environment, here you have an example in London on the London River Walls linked to Thames Tideway, the Thames Tideway project. But after that, the other options were around buildings. So you have obviously utilities, residential applications, earthworks all the way down there, southeast. You have the Barnhurst case study. And the other points, the Tower Bridge that you have here. Here are all the applications related to surveyors that we can cover. As you can see, we do cover quite a lot. So going and continuing on the way we can deliver these applications, here are the products that we can offer. I'll go quickly because here it is not really the time to tell you all about the technology. I will just give you an overview of what we can produce. ODSs, standing for optical displacement sensor, basically a laser that can measure a distance between 2 points. Tilt sensors, our triaxial tilt sensor, which is our most historical product. You can see the applications that it can cover. Here, pay attention to the little legend that you have right here. Each application has a different level of expertise. So depending on if you've used our product before or if you're already familiar with them, some of them might be more relevant to you than others. Continuing on the products, the beam kit. Here we're using the triaxial tilt sensor on different type of structures. So as a chain to monitor differential settlements, on masonry to catch the exact movement of a structure, or again as a chain to monitor arch convergence. Next part of our portfolio is the Nano family, Nano, Nano Plus, Nano Max. We can cover historical buildings because of their small size, reduced clearance applications, again because of their small size, and sea river wall applications because of their waterproof aspect. Fully waterproof compared to IP68 for the rest of our sensors. Next one is the cellular gateway, allowing you to take pictures on a site that you're monitoring. So here, you're not trying to measure something, but more so to have a visual control of what's happening. And finally, the integrators, as I call them, these cover a lot of different sensors that you can plug into the Sensive portfolio. Temperatures, inclinometers, IPIs, piezometers, strain gauges. These integrators might not be directly relevant to you as a surveyor. You'll mainly focus on the other type of sensors, but it's good to know that you can integrate other type of sensors alongside these main products, and we can get back to that afterward. What's good for a surveyor is to know that these products also integrate within their existing line of product. And in order to display the data coming from the sensors, it's really interesting to note that we work with the main geospatial brands softwares to integrate this data. And here you can see on the screen like Geomos, Topcode Delta Watch, guided by VMT, Trimble 4D. All these three main platforms do accept our data. We can transfer the data from our equipment to these platforms. So if you do have these licenses, if you do have these products, you can already work with us without having to invest extra money. We can also work with other third-party platforms. So if you're working with the likes of Vista Data Vision or other platforms, more monitoring platform dedicated, we have ways to integrate within that as well. But another option is also to use the platform that we offer, Web Monitor. It is included in the package. When you purchase our equipment, you can immediately visualize the sensitive data on your equipment. So through a laptop, through a normal PC, or on your phone. All this is hosted on the internet, so you don't need any application, but this gives you an easy way to display your data. So again, as a surveyor, you don't need an extra investment to play with our equipment. You already have everything in hand. So starting the second part, looking, now that we know what we're dealing with and who Sensive is, let's look at the surveying challenges, what challenges surveyors face as of today. So quick poll again, trying to keep everyone awake. Here you go, launching now. What is the greatest challenge facing surveyors today? So try to think about your day-to-day life, your day-to-day job. How do you approach that, and what do you see as the biggest hurdle for a surveyor? All right, we have 50% of people that have voted. We'll wait a little bit more, maybe a few seconds. Still collecting answers. All right, a few more clicks maybe. And let's close the poll. All right, so I'm going to share it on your screen. As you can see, well, it's pretty divided. 50% of you think the operational challenge is the biggest. The other 50% is cultural. I'm actually surprised about environmental, but we'll get back to that. It's good to see that that is divided because it will depend on the company. It will depend on your type of activity, and I will present in this part what we're talking about. So. The first part, starting with operational challenges, first point that I could see and that I've heard a lot through projects and customers is multi-project management. Multi-project management is time consuming. You have to do site visits, you have to travel to work on site, therefore requires a lot of resources. When you work with your standard surveying fleet, it means that you also have to think about your equipment maintenance, your calibration, again, going either to site or going to your distributor. This adds to the planning. And finally, the impossibility to provide real time. When you have multiple projects, if you're taken by one or the other, it's hard to send a team full time on the project. It's hard to deliver the data or process the data as fast as you can, and therefore you sometimes cannot simply bid on a project because you cannot answer the specifications that are demanded by the client. The other operational challenge is the cost battle. As you can see on this amazing drawing that I didn't do, people are always asking you to provide cheaper equipment, cheaper services, and this drags everyone down. You have the risk of a fixed price bid, which you don't really know about. The specifications are not well defined. So how are you going to fight that? Competition of newcomers and lower salaries. You have experienced surveyors, but it's hard to justify their services on a new project when competition is cutting costs. Difficulty to justify the cost of your standard technology and services. Well, if people have seen your total station years and years and years, how can you well, increase your price, make something new and add value to what you offer? So these are the operational challenges that we could see. Going on to the environment, for a surveyor, the environment is part of the job, and it's difficult to deal with that. First of all, with harsh conditions. You're fully aware of this. The lack of weather reliability for manual and automated optical surveys makes it really hard to get reliable data. Frequent site access and delays. It's not only the weather, but it's also the site itself, the project, makes it hard to access your data, access the site, access the equipment. And finally, the fact that people always give you the lower priority when you're on a project. If you have a piling rig or if you have an excavator coming within your area, you can be sure that you'll be the last one to enter this zone unless something critical is about to happen. So this is a massive challenge that you have to fight. Another thing about the environment is obviously health and safety, and this is one growing challenge of our time. These are few numbers that we found, official numbers from the UK, but that are very relevant around the world. 30 fatal injuries to worker on the 2019 year. Injuries to worker, that's 54,000. And as you can see, the numbers in terms of cost, in terms of days missed, is staggering. So when you look at a project at first, it might not be a big problem. You don't think that has a cost, but if your team gets hurt, if you need to pay them, if you need to put them on leave for a certain time, obviously these are costs that are a challenge for your surveying team. Going from environment to the cultural challenges, obviously a surveyor has to adapt to new technology. So first of all, it needs to manage clients' innovation expectations versus costs. Again, client is always keen to cut the cost down, but he also wants to see new things, shiny things, exciting things. And it's hard to come up with the right balance here. You cannot have new things if you don't put the right cost. You yourself, your team need a constant technical learning and updating. That's fine. you've worked with this tool station for a really long time, but what about the next product and the new version of this platform? How can you overcome that? Finally, differentiate, useful innovation versus fad or false trend. Here is an important point. When you look at innovation, it's great, it's exciting, but how can you make sure that it is not just a new trend that will fade off? Or how can you make sure that this product that is presented to you actually deliver the specs and has been proven on the market? So as a surveyor, it's quite hard to put that all together. Other cultural point, that's the point of attracting new generation. The industry is renowned to have lower pace than, let's say, finance or let's say than lawyers, for example. For equal or even higher expertise, a surveyor that has a responsibility for an entire site should be paid more. Yes, I do agree, should, but the reality is here. There is a lack of innovation perception within the industry. It is changing through new technologies, but it's hard to attract the new generation that is more techie and oriented towards that. And finally, lack of diversity. That's very true again in terms of women integration. For example, it is hard to find a broad diversity within the civil industry in general, but the surveying industry as well. So how do we face that? How do we change it? And how do we change that? Final point is the tradition. It sort of regroup everything else. Saying is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's very true within surveying. If you're using a technology, if you're using practices, what would you change that? Well, the point of my presentation and the next part is to show you how you can easily change that without any risk and creating something that will benefit you, your team, and your company. All right, so what's a remote surveyor? In order to highlight that, I've taken a few case studies that I'll present you. I'll ask you how you think you would have answered this case study in the first place with your current knowledge, and I'll show you what you could have done or what you could offer with Sensive solutions. So the first case study is the Château de Foix, with the accent, in France. Okay, so you have a castle, historical castle, with a lot of retaining walls. It is aging, risk of collapse, so obviously, and ongoing work in some areas. I'll take my pointer. We're looking specifically at the bottom part here and top part right there, these large retaining walls. Going back, here are the specifications of the project. Everyone is offering either automated or manual survey. It's 1 hour drive away from your office. Let's assume that you're living in a nice city of Toulouse, and it's a 12-month project. So here you go, starting the poll now. Let me know how you think you would answer it right now as a surveyor. Either you've used us or not. Be honest. Just say what would be your first approach. All right, half of you have voted. We'll wait a little bit more until everyone has answered. Okay, a few more seconds. And we'll close. Okay, so I'm going to share the results with you. There's a really good point, structural sensors. That's exciting. That means that potentially a lot of you either work with us or at least tend to go towards our approach. The other would just not currently bid on this type of project, and that's great as well because we can tell you how you can change that. So let's go back to the slide. Here, oh, here, the key point is price less and win more. This is a different. This is a small project where you need to differentiate your offer. So first point is everyone is going to bid the same thing. All the other regional surveyors are going to approach that with a manual survey, going there maybe once a week. Checking things with their existing fleet of equipment, which are mostly manual tool stations or maybe automated if they're a bigger group. But how can you beat the competition? Well, maybe with a more cost-effective technology, maybe more reliable, but also showcase your expertise to your customers. The next point is becoming fully remote. You don't need to go to the site. You can reduce the cost of travel, of time using wireless sensors. You can increase the number of projects covered in the week with the same team. So not only looking at this castle, but also the 10 other projects that you have running at the same time. Or can you avoid going there and do something else more useful while staying here on your sofa, or more likely on your in your office. Next point is to offer continuous data. A remote or wireless surveyor can offer that to its client. You can receive data up to every second with a technology like Synergies. You can set up text and email alerts to make sure that you alerted if trends are developing, if there is a risk on site. And you can obviously manage your client access remotely. So if, I don't know, John Doe from one company wants to see a part of the data, this other guy from the rest of the team wants to have access to the alert, you can differentiate their access and make sure that they all have what they want. Final part is enjoy 15 years of battery life. That's the idea of long term. There is no maintenance, no calibration compared to a total station. That's a massive advantage. And you can reuse your fleet of sensors on multiple projects. So not only you can win this project, but you can reduce your cost for the future projects that you have in mind. So it's more long-term approach of your projects. So I hope all these points were clear for this specific, but here the idea is, again, price less, win more. You can save a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of resources with the wireless sensing technology. So going forward, that's how our client has answered it on the Chateau de Foix. 10 nano plus a manual survey baseline, one solar powered cellular gateway, and 15-minute reporting rate, email, text alert. Very simple. They're monitoring the rotation of this retaining wall. They have a backup of absolute values with their total station, and they can come here maybe, I don't know, once at the beginning of the site, one at the end of the site, maybe every 3 months, to make sure that the absolute trends are not developing. But unless you have an alert that is triggered, you don't need to actually go, and the workers are safe there. So that was the first project. Let's move on to something closer to home, the A14 upgrade. Some of you might have heard about it. So no spoiler, I'm going to share a new poll to ask you how you think you could have done that. A little bit of background here. As you could see on the picture, they're building a new highway on top of this railway line. They have to monitor the track geometry, track movements, the OLE stability, all these sort of things while the construction is going. It is north of London, close to Huntington. It is remote, it is difficult to access. So how would you approach that? We have about half of the people that have voted, still collecting answers. Let's wait for another 20 seconds. It's quite well divided, actually. Let's see. All right, well, we'll close the poll. We have about 2/3 of the people that have answered. Let's see. Close, and I'm going to share that with you. So as you can see, yeah, perfectly divided. And there is no wrong answer here. Some of you might have taken the manual survey approach. So on this, we can get back to it, but the main sticky point is that you need continuous data. You have heavy work around the railway. Manual survey once a day, twice a day, or even more is not manageable. Structurally is the same. You need access, you need to shut down the line. It is simply not possible. Automated optical survey, we can get back to it. That could be an application, but in terms of cost, it's always difficult to install. And in terms of maintenance, it can quickly be a nightmare with the UK weather. Finally, other, I'm checking my notes right now in the chat. I cannot see questions or anyone that has put something. If you have the chance, please drop me a line so I can see what would have been your solution on this specific project. But let's go back to the presentation, and we'll show you how we did it. So again, going back on the project, it is with the UK typical weather. The picture is a little bit misleading. It's not sunny like that every day. It is critical traffic on the East Coast Main Line, meaning that there are loads of train passing during the day. You have a little bit less traffic at night, but still it is a pain to have access to this railway. Finally, simply the access, physical access is difficult there, simply because it's a very remote site, and all the entry points are quite far away. If I remember well, it was at least 1, if not 2 kilometers away on each side to be able to access the track due to the embankment. So here, the key points that we have to look at as a wireless surveyor are the following. Master your environment. Here you need to be the weatherman. That means that within the UK or anywhere else, you need to be fully prepared if it's raining, if your solution gets dirty with this harsh environment. You need to stop cleaning your dirty prisms. You need to get reliable data within the fog, in the mud, under the snow, and wireless sensors do allow that. Yes, they might not provide absolute movement, but with relative calculations, you can get a perfect idea of the track geometry without having all the issues, reliability, stability that you would have with an optical solution. Improve your installation time compared to automated optical survey. The installation of the sensors is way easier. You simply have to clean your sleepers, glue the sensors to it, and go away. All the baseline, all the rest of the calculation can be done remotely, so you don't need to stay on site as you would do with one or multiple tool stations to find your prisms, to find your references, to make sure that everything works well. Next important point is to reduce access to site. As we said, on this specific project, it is hard to get there. So you don't need to go back for maintenance. You need to stop booking access to difficult part of the site. If you have a vehicles activity, if you have another bridge being built at some point, it is very hard to compete with these teams doing the work. So having an automated solution at first is a good first step, but having the sensors that give you the reliable data on top of that is excellent. Finally, last part, improve your team health and safety. Reduce the travel time. If it's a job far away, again, you don't need to send someone every day or multiple teams with rotations. Reduce night shift and overtime. As I said, heavy traffic means that you can only access this site on specific nights. You don't have to do it with wireless sensors. Finally, reduce the risk of accidents on site. That's just a fact. Obviously, there is the risk of being hit by a train, even if that's not very often, but simply twist your ankle climbing the embankment or on the ballast, that's something very real that happens often. So by using sensors and not having to go on site, you can fight that. So let's look at our solution on this very project. We installed 464 track bed tilts and 8 gantry tilts over the 4 lines that you can see, that you could see on the pictures. These tilts monitor cant, twist, and longitudinal settlements with cumulative calculations. We had the regional surveying team that undertook obviously a manual baseline, an absolute baseline, allowing them to go back when a trend was developing to check the calculation, make sure that everything was all right, and to have a backup. If something goes wrong, let's say that all the gateways get hit by, I don't know, the lightning, or all the nodes get ripped off by, I don't know, anything, you have a second point of backup. Finally, Sensi full support to the regional team was very real there, but also to the contractor. PBH, the survey team that undertook our solution, was new with the technology. That was the first time they used this product. Therefore, Barry and our team helped them all the way through the installation, through the configuration, and afterward, even when there were questions about the data or the use of the technology. It was a successful project because Sensiv was not only providing the equipment, but also the support that comes with it. And that's important to remember when you look at using a new technology. So that's it for A14. The tools collapse, friends. So going back more so in a city environment, these are the parameters of this project. First parameter was the emergency. Roof had just collapsed in the city center of Toulouse. The requirements for easy installation and fast reporting were there because, well, they had to send an emergency team within the building, make sure that everyone was safe and that the data was reliable to protect these people and the people in the adjacent buildings. Finally, we were in a city center, so with narrow streets, really hard to get line of sight, and a lot of people moving around, vehicles, plus the public. So what would have been your approach on this site? Launching the poll right now. All right. The vote is moving up. About a quarter of people that have voted now. Again, on this side, bear in mind that the roof just collapsed. People had to react quickly, and people within the surrounding area were at risk, meaning that people living in the surrounding buildings had to be moved out. They had to wait until the structural assessment was done. So in terms of urgency, it was right down there. I repeat, it was in the city center, so with narrow streets, difficult to access, a lot of traffic, public movement, and well, an easy installation that was needed because the facade was very much unstable. So these are the things that we were looking at. Okay, I have about half of the people that have voted at the moment. Let's move it up a tiny bit, 10 more seconds, and we'll close the poll. One more vote. Okay, I'm gonna close the poll and share it with you. So again, divided here, automated optical survey, structural sensors, and other. Again, I'm checking my chat, but I cannot see any comment or question at the moment. So please drop us a quick question or a quick note to let us know how you would have approached that, because it will be good to maybe debate on this. But going back to the presentation, the key points that we had to look at here was how to innovate, how to do that better. If there is a better way to do it, find it. So first, build on your existing expertise. You're a surveyor, you have a lot of knowledge, apply that to a new technology, especially if it's a turnkey technology. Sensitive sensors are extremely easy to take on. You don't need to learn a lot of new things apart from how well you need to install it. And second of all, if you're unsure, if you're not fully confident, take advantage of the local support and international support. Add value to your portfolio. If you were thinking about approaching it with automated survey or something else, think differently. How can you make more money on this specific project? You can approach your customer that you've talked to for the past 10 years with a new exciting technology, with something more reliable, with something more relevant to their need, and maximize your margin, because you will be able to reuse these sensors after this project, and therefore will reduce the cost of your equipment. Third point is use the most advanced tech. Show the industry your leadership. This specific company has used that as a case study. They will be able to be called on similar project afterward, and they were able to answer it with a different way of thinking, a more reliable way of thinking. In the same way, attract new recruits, more tech-oriented into your business. If you're struggling before because, well, maybe you're an old school surveying office, because your team is not offering something new to them, think differently, maybe push them towards a solution like the wireless sensors, and get them excited about it. Create champions around this technology. Finally, avoid locals' false friends. That's a quick point that is quite important. You could find ways to do it the same way that Sensive offer it, but always remember, low cost usually means lower quality, and therefore make sure that it's a proven technology that you can trust. Final point here, a little cross-industry collaboration. On this specific project, the client made the most of his own technology, which was 3D laser and sensitive sensors. Altogether, this collaboration made him able to win the project and get a successful result. Finally, complete your reporting with new parameters. If you have the ability not to only monitor the rotation of your facade, but also potentially the temperature inside the building, the strain within some members of the structure, do it, because it's added value that can interest your client, even if he hasn't asked it at the beginning. So presenting this case study and how we've done it, we've used tilt sensors, optical displacement sensors, and 3D scanner. As I said, the regional surveyor topography 47 used this free technology altogether to monitor the rotation of the facade, the displacement and bending of the facade with the lasers, and getting a good and general understanding of the structure through the 3D scanning at different intervals. The installation was done within 24 hours of the collapse, which couldn't have been done with any other technology. First of all, because the technology was available at our distributor, but also because it's so easy and turnkey. Finally, collaboration between local surveyor and national distributor plus Sensive. Again, that's the idea of the support. Here, they have a demand, they have a request from an end client. How can we all together as a team answer that and be effective? Final case study. After that, that's the last one. Victoria Dock Road Utilities here in the UK, towards East London. So here you have a new trench, quite a large trench for utilities that will be built next to these houses. There is a large risk of settlement on the pavement and next to the house. Will be quick, about a month, and well, you need to provide a solution not too far from your office. So let's share the next poll. How would you approach that? Remember the picture, as I said, new utilities, trenches that are going right next to this building. The main risk is the settlement, both on the pavement, the road that you've seen on the right, and the houses that you have on the left. Let's say that it's quite close to your office. Let's assume that you are a London surveying company. We have about half of the votes. Let's wait a little bit more, 15 more seconds, and we'll close the poll. Okay, a few more votes. And close. Okay, so the results are surprising because on this job, the solution that was actually selected was manual optical survey. Here you have a very short-term site that is not extremely sensitive. The main risk is the settlement, which with our sensor can only be detected with chain of sensors. So here actually, the right answer would have been to select, well, your own solutions. Yeah, the manual optical survey, potentially automated if it's quite sensitive, but here the risk was quite minimal. So it's always important to remember on a project that to look at the timeline. Here, 1 month is short. Potentially it'll be done quickly. There is not a massive risk for the surrounding. The risk, again, as I said, was the settlement. So here, what's the best way to monitor that? Well, yeah, here with 3D monitoring points. And finally, what's the reporting, what's the data expected by the client? Here, they might ask you for a weekly reporting. On this project, that was the case. They're not too worried about the impact of the actual utilities. So yeah, look at your strength. Manual optical survey remains the best solution. And I think that's something that we should all remember. Yes, sensitive products and wireless products are great, but they're not always the best solution. So keep that in mind. It's great to have it as part of your portfolio, but it's just complementary. You have your strength, continue to use it, and add new ones to your activity. Last 2 slides, the conclusions. Let's look at the main benefits of targeting this type of market, the wireless sensing markets. There are new regulations that allow you to use this technology. Structures are aging. It covers the full monitoring activity, but on top of that, yeah, wireless sensors. So there will be more demand for you to do things like that. Health and safety, both protecting people on site and protecting members of your team. We've talked about it. Wireless sensors allow you to do that in a very easy way. Gap in the market. People don't often think about new ways of doing things. Surveyors lack the confidence usually to go towards this type of activity, even if they have the knowledge. So you can pick low-hanging fruits within the monitoring market. And the second benefit is that you can use sensitive network with our technology. As I said before, you fully benefit from the Sensive team support, from our partners and distributor support within your region. But also benefit from the shared success. If you have case studies like the ones that I've shown you, well, you can show it off, publicize it, win new projects thanks to it, and therefore look like a leader in the industry, in the surveying industry. So keep all that in mind. Wireless sensors, the wireless Surveyor is not going anywhere. It's not a thing that will disappear. It is very real. How can you implement it within your company? Well, to know that, please contact us. Feel free to ask questions, and yeah, drop us questions if you have some. Thanks a lot for listening. Now we can start few minutes of Q&A. I've run a little bit over time, but I'm sure some of you might have questions. So feel free to drop a few lines within the chat box and let me know what you would like to learn. We'll have about 10 minutes. So through the presentation, I have, I'll go from first. Geotechnical sensors, okay. So I'm guessing that refers, Ricardo, hi Ricardo, geotechnical sensor, I guess that refers to one of the application. So regarding that, yes, we can integrate geotechnical sensors. Can remember exactly which slide it was or which case study, but we can integrate, let's take crack sensors, piezometers, IPIs with sensitive products. The idea is that we fully integrate with this type of technologies. All the general ones that you're probably aware of if you know about geotechnical sensors, vibrating wire, potentiometric sensors, millivolt per volt. These are the things that we do cover. Hope that answers your question.
I just jump in? It's Simon here. I just say, if people want to raise a hand, we can unmute them if they want to speak.
I don't see any hand raised. I don't see any more question being added.
Okay, Ricardo, I'll unmute you.
Hi, Ricardo, how are you doing?
We can hear you now.
Hello, Arnold. How are you?
Hi.
Good presentation. Now,
Cheers.
just thanks for the clarification, because it was referring to the poll answer. When you answer to other sensor, I was writing in the question area because I cannot see the chat.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I could not answer.
I think on the first, yeah, I think during the first slides, I realized it afterward. I think I was still displaying the poll, unfortunately. So that's something that I guess I'll have to improve on the next presentation. I think that was okay after. I think that was okay afterward. But yeah, the poll I think remained displayed for the sensitive first part. That was my bad.
No, okay, no problem. So everything clear. Thanks.
All right. Don't see anyone else raising a hand. Or Simon, do you see any other question?
No, I can't see anything else. There's obviously a lot of observations in there, things to pick up on in the presentation. So thanks everybody for those. That's good stuff. obviously some people I think had an issue with not being able to hit the poll, the voting button. It
Yeah.
would be interesting to know what the issue was there, and whether it resolved when people had got used to it or something changed. I'd like to understand that better for future, please. If anybody wants to say what happened, okay, Graham.
Yeah.
There you go, Graham.
Yeah, I mean, in regard to the poll not clicking, clearly no idea. It appears on the screen. You try to click on any of the sentences and therefore the button or the circle, and nothing happens. So it doesn't engage. The cursor doesn't engage with the whatever. So no view on that. I was just going to make a general observation, just in terms of the style of the presentation, because it's much more of a, if you like, a dialogue, if you like, in comparison to what we saw a lot the other week with Fleximet, well, I should say Earthworks. I think I quite like the idea of attempting to put oneself in the position of the surveyor. I think that's it's a nice style. It's quite difficult to do because, I mean, as you know, I could try to imagine myself as the really skeptical surveyor every time you said something, and you know, I was trying to imagine them saying, I mean, just even simple things, which I don't disagree with. You know, only our system would you be able to put in 24 hours. I could hear some smart ass saying, "Oh no, you could put in X, Y, and Z." I think choosing one's words is really, really important. But I think he did a good job, and I like the style. It's definitely got potential. Whether that's, you know, the style for all of them, I don't know. But it's got legs. Let's put it that way. That's all I had to say. Well done.
All right.
Thanks, Graham.
Thanks.
Barry, do you want to say something?
Yeah. Hi guys. A couple of things. Who's on this webinar? I don't have any way of viewing. Is it just Sensi?
Yeah. Yes, just the invitation went to the
right. Okay. The
customer support thing, Barry.
Right, I didn't get an invitation. That's why, and I didn't have anything in my calendar. That's one thing just to check. Just a bit of feedback. My survey did work. It just went dark grey. I don't know if anyone noticed that. So when I clicked, it went dark grey, which I assume means it worked. So that was fine for me, the button. Okay. I like the style personally. I think it's modern, fresh. I like this interaction. It keeps people switched on. You know, you've got too many people sort of answering over you, so you answer the questions at the end, which is great. And some interaction that keeps you focused. So yeah, I thought it was really good, mate. Well done.
Is it I don't know who it was, like someone on some questions put other, and I put like send us a quick note in the chat. Is it easy to write in the chat or drop a message if they want to sort of maybe precise what they wanted to say, or develop an idea, so we can sort of bounce back on that? Not sure who did that.
I don't think you can see the chat. I think that's the problem. Okay. I think that's what Ricardo said as well. I can't see the chat, so it's sort of, okay. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if there's a way of, like, you know, keeping the chat part of it constantly open so you can see what other people say, or, you know, stuff like that. But I couldn't see the chat myself, unless I'm doing something wrong.
Well, it's interesting. I don't know whether you can hear me. I've just written just as a test. Do you see this?
No, I can't see that.
I see that in the question.
Can you see it?
Yeah, and okay. I think Luke answered. Yeah.
Luke has just answered. Yeah. Okay. Well,
it was me.
Yeah, see, I don't know how. Relatively I can't see your. Yeah, I can't see any of your answers or the chat itself. That's what I can't see.
But that isn't actually the chat. There are separate tools here. One of the tools is called questions, and the one that everybody's been active on today is that questions one. So Arno and I can see that. You obviously can maybe only see your own question. You can't see everybody else's.
You can only see your own questions, and there's no. You saying that there are other options. I can't see any other options.
The one that Arnaud was referencing, I think, is called chat, and it is
Oh, I
been
can't see
noted by
that.
the fact that it's completely blank.
Yeah,
I think
where
we were
is that
expecting you
even?
to.
Is it
No,
tucked away in the menu?
We'll
There's a
have to
It's
small
the
take
red
you
menu.
up.
arrow. If you click on the
We'll
red
have a
arrow,
little dummy run, and because the view that we're seeing as organisers is different to the one that you have, so
Oh,
we'll
right.
set up
Okay.
a separate. We'll investigate
Okay.
that. That obviously
That's
didn't
fine.
work perfectly.
but questions could work as well. I mean, as long as we have a way to get extra information without having everyone talking through the webinar, that could work. Like that's fine.
Well, I think it's good. I think right at the beginning, you just got to be careful. Oh no, just you were talking about Sensive, and it was really hard to listen to you because all you had on the screen was the poll results, moustache. It was just a shame because I would have been the only one that would have clicked moustache.
No.
By the way,
we had slides. Yeah, sorry, I had slides, but I thought I clicked the stop button on the slide.
you definitely
And,
need something on the screen that's more interesting when
yeah,
you're
no, that was
chatting through that stuff.
so that was like the whole. I'm not sure if you can still see the screen, but that was like.
Oh,
I think
that wasn't on.
part, yeah, that was
Right.
that was this
Okay.
part.
Yeah, well, that would have been good.
Next part's about the
Yeah.
surveyors working with us, and the applications. I think I
saw
can
that
go back
one.
on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, cool. Well done. Good. I mean, I think we're learning from all of these. I think everyone's got their own style as well. So somehow we need to sort of take the best of all of them. You know, Manuel's had lots of good stuff in it. You've got yours has obviously the different subjects. We just need to stand back and look at all of them and look at all the lessons and the good, the bad, and the indifferent in all of them. Anyway, I'll leave that to Simon to pull together.
Yeah, we've got a growing notes document now for points to do better.
Yeah. Okay, good.
All right.
Good stuff.
Well,
right. Done deal.
Thanks,
Are we
everybody.
off? Are we done?
Yep.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Thank
Cheers
you.
on that. And well done, obviously, last Friday. Everyone saw the note. A much needed almost 300 grand of track bed stuff for US. So, yeah, good stuff.
Good one. Good one. All right. Bye, guys.
Okay. Cheers, guys.
Simon, Luke, do you want to stay on this, or do you want to move to a different platform? Marcus?
Even though you switched off the screen.
Marcus, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, I can.
I just wanted to say I can still hear you even though you switched off the screen. So
I know. Yeah,
yes.
no. I think like I was seeing if Luke and Simon wanted to stay on this one. Yeah, no, that's fine.
I just wanted to let you know that you have to obviously take care that if you do any afterwards remarks,
yeah, you don't start. You don't start like talking trash about people that were that you were presented.
Yeah.
No, that's
well,
fine.
I'm maybe one question here. I'm really sorry. I think I wanted to join in time, but obviously I didn't know that I had to register first, and that took a while. Simon knows. So the only thing, when I then dialed in, I heard something like audio only. Could that be that this has something to do with my inability to do the poll?
No, it should be you should not have audio anyway, because I think like that's the way it's defined. But you should have had access to the poll. I'm not really sure why it wouldn't give you this this.
No, I
pause.
just could. Of course, I joined afterwards. Not all settings were done or something. That's why I have no idea. I was just about to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
I guess we'll look into it. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Marcus.
Bye.
Bye.
It was fine.
Thanks, Marcus. Yeah, and from my point of view, I'd forgotten how to approve people's. I could see how to re-invite them, but I'd forgotten where to find in the dashboard the place where you approve their invitation. So that's why people lost 10, 15 minutes at the beginning, some of them. But yeah, it's important. And we need to emphasize to people that they have to register. They can't, they can't just click on it at the time like a Teams or go to meeting invitation. There is a process.
Especially because we put questions and things. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So I think in future invitations, we need to say, look, you must register an hour before the event.
Yeah, or even 24 hours before, like
period before. Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right.
But I thought that was great, Arno. I think you did brilliantly there. Really good. And I loved having the little video. I think the video was to see you.
Yeah, I couldn't really see myself, so we'll see how it goes.
No, it was much better. It was I think it's much more engaging like that, and it makes it seem it's not the same as being in a room, but it's getting, it's a step towards it. You can't see, you can't make eye contact with the audience, but at least people can see you. I mean, one thing I would say on it is, and I'm sure this is very difficult, and I think you did a pretty good job of it anyway, is to try to keep looking at your screen as close as you can to the camera. There's a few times.
Because I think I'm always on the right.
Exciting going on up high. You were tending to look up high a little bit.
I think it's when I'm thinking, I'm just like eyes up, and you forget that you have the audience obviously in front of you.
Yeah. So I think you almost need to stick a photograph of an audience or something on their screen to think, I'm going to look at that,
and I guess the first slide at the beginning, I thought that I was pretty sure I'd click stop the poll or stop sharing the poll, so that's why I was continuing, and then I think Graham sent me a text, and I saw that it was still on. So I guess that's something to remember, to keep an eye on, that the poll has been closed, so you don't lose your audience, and you continue to show actual slides.
And I didn't have that questions box open. I was waiting for people to comment in the chat box like you. So it was only later I realized that there was all those questions in there.
Yeah. No, I was seeing the questions, but it's weird, like the chat box. I'm not really sure how it works, if people can just talk there, or if it has to go through questions. I mean, questions I guess work. That's fine. So yeah. Did you type that?
Yeah, I just scribbled something in there now. So that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just for organizers. Maybe it's for us.
It might be. Yeah, it might be. I know, because I put to all audience. So I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess that's for everyone, but I'm not sure if they can type something. That might be
Yeah. Organizers.
I was thinking, how do I stop the do I stop the recording, or?
So we're recording all of this because I just so I'll have to cut this off the recording. I think maybe you have to I can't see where you stop broadcast now. I think if you hit I hit the cross in the top. Actually, you can't stop the broadcast. That's the thing.
You have to close. You have to close basically.
Close the program.
Well, we can jump on Teams.
Yeah,
let's close that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Luke's going to be able to join us because he's having a crisis of power.
Internet. Yeah, he told me.
Yeah, All
right, I got you on
I'll
Teams.
stop this anyway now, and yeah, we can have a chat on Teams.
Perfect.